We finally got our HempWool insulation delivery last night. Let's check it out. So over here, you can see just a small portion of the delivery from last night. It was 5 giant pallets. It took about an hour to unload between the two of us, but we got it done. Over here, you can see the 3.5-inch thick HempWool insulation. Of course, it's 3.5 inches thick, so it will fit in the spaces between our 2x4 framing for our exterior walls. And it's comparable, our value, to a rock wool for interior batt insulation or a fiberglass. Cost-wise is also comparable, so we're excited to get this in. You'll see the process in this video. If you come over here, you can see our 5.5-inch thick batt insulation. Now this 5.5-inch thick insulation is going to go between our roof rafters so that we can insulate those gaps in the ceiling of our second floor, and then also in the ceiling of the cellar. We are not conditioning the cellar space, we're only conditioning the first and second floors, so we need to make sure that we create our thermal boundary around the entire basement ceiling, which is the floor of the first floor. So this will go in between that first floor framing as well. Let's go upstairs and we'll show you how we install it. Come on. So here's the hemp batt. This is a 5.5-inch thick insulation piece. It is R20, so comparable to your typical rock wool or fiberglass batt, which would again go in between your studs or framing elements or rafters, for example. And it is made of mostly hemp. And this hemp is grown in the US. The product is actually manufactured in Idaho. I know that the company is expanding their facilities, but right now this one came from Idaho. We're so happy to have a local US product to use for our house, and also a healthy product. That is so important to the ethos of this house and to my general architecture practice. I really prioritize health. This is really safe and healthy for me to install myself. So I'm the installer. I'm going to be living in this space. Those are two parts that I need to have a very healthy product for, but also thinking about the people on the start of the product chain. So who's actually manufacturing the material? I want to make sure that they are not negatively impacted by material choices that we have on the building site. And then also at the end of life of a product, for the end of useful life, maybe it's 60, 70 years from now, who knows? Maybe someone would renovate this building at some point. I'm not sure, but what happens to the product at the end of its useful life? Is it landfilled or is it able to return to the earth? And this product can go back to the earth. That's what's so great about it. Not only is it healthy, but it's also bio-based, so we can actually compost this. So this material is meant for a compression fit. This is a 16-inch on center size. You can also get 24-inch on center, and all you have to do is put it between rafters and then shove it in with a compression fit. As you can see, we just finished our first wall, which is actually a roof and a wall, all in one. But we use this angle grinder with a 7-inch metal cutoff blade to do all the cuts. It took quite a while actually, because these, again, I mentioned earlier, these are not 16-inch on center for these rafters. They're all custom sizes and it changes as you go from the bottom all the way to the top. So every single one is its own dimension. Down here where our rafters from this slanted roof meet our floor joists for the second floor framing, we need to make sure that we can insulate in these kind of funky little places. So we've cut some much smaller pieces here and we've carefully stuffed them in so that we can make sure that the insulation is nice and tight to the roof sheathing above and also is friction fit in between all of these framing pieces. So you can see here our second floor framing joist, rafters, and then filling this gap in between. And then up here, we have some kind of funky sizing of this old 1950s house. So while we did order 16-inch on center batt insulation, every single rafter has a different on-center size. So we're needing to cut every single one with a custom sizing in order to friction fit it. So we're going one by one, changing the dimension as we go up each section of the rafter. The other thing that you can use instead of a metal grinder is a table saw with a hardy blade. So you can use that to cut instead. We don't have a table saw though, so this is what we're going with. And we're excited that this is finally done, but you can see like it took quite a while to get in here, probably like 2 hours just to do this portion because of all the custom sizing and custom cutting. But now break time, and then we're gonna start on the next portion of the roof. So one kind of interesting aspect I think about this project is that we have a limited budget. So in order for us to get everything that we want out of the house, what we have decided to do is that we are partially self-building this house. So as you can see, my husband and I, we are currently installing all of our bat insulation ourselves. We did all of the ordering of the material. We took care of the logistics, etc. The only thing that we are having other contractors do is everything that we can't. So that includes plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and then also some dangerous exterior work, which includes re-roofing, new siding, and the addition of all the exterior continuous insulation. So anything that we can do ourselves, we are trying to take that on to reduce our whole project cost. So once we're done with the bat insulation and all of the interior service work is done, then that means Eric and I are actually going to be finishing the interiors ourselves. So adding new wallboard, we're going to be plastering the interiors and then also refinishing the floors. And I think that this is a fairly interesting approach that not everyone has considered before. Oftentimes you'll hear people say, oh, it's too expensive to renovate a house, costs, etc. But this is an alternative that people could consider. I know that it takes a lot of time. Trust me, we know it takes a lot of time. We have a little kid, so time away from her is kind of difficult. But we are really prioritizing this, and we're making time for it on the weekends while we have some childcare solutions on the side. So this is how we are approaching this project to make sure that we can get this healthy, comfortable home for our family. And I think it's something that other people might be able to consider as well if you're in a similar position. It's evening now. We've had a super full day and we made some really good progress. As you can see, we have a lot more work to do, but we did a really good job, in my opinion, of doing a lot of work in this room. This portion of the cathedral ceiling is completely done on both sides. And then we also have started some of this front wall, which is our north-facing wall out to the lake. So my favorite part of the hemp insulation is the fact that it sequesters carbon. It grows super quickly. It grows a lot quicker than a tree. So you can get, I think, 3 to 4 harvests in 1 year. And by using the hemp in our house, it allows us to make our home a carbon sink. So not only are we getting great, healthy insulation, we are also helping to remove some carbon from the atmosphere and store it within our home. Thanks so much for watching, and catch us on the next update. Bye.